to the Jonathan Ross Show. Let's start as we always do. Let's have a look and see who's in my green room tonight. My first guest has had 4 #1 singles and 4 #1 albums. He's also fresh from being crowned the winning coach on The Voice 2019. It's Ollie Murs, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations on that win. Amazing. Next up, a supermodel who made her Victoria's Secret catwalk debut last year and has taken the fashion world by storm. It's Winnie Harlow, ladies and gentlemen. Winnie Harlow, to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Plus, we have one of the biggest actors in the business. I'm a huge fan. I'm sure you are too. It's Jack Bauer himself, Mr. Kiefer Sutherland, right there. Hey, Kiefer. And finally, in these troubled political times, there's only one person on TV I trust completely, award-winning broadcaster Emily Maitlis. OK, so, let me start with this news story, though, because the shock news this week is that Simon Cowell is being haunted, OK? That's not a metaphor. I don't mean he's haunted by the tears of all the hopeful young pop stars whose dreams he's crushed. I mean, Simon believes he's actually being haunted by a ghost in his London house. Apparently, in the middle of the night, he heard hideous wailing. So he got up, panicking. He checked the guest room. Sunita wasn't staying over. So he realised it must be a ghost. Now, Simon is terrified of anything to do with the other side, especially when Strictly is on. I think I might believe him because we looked into it and we found some photographic evidence, and this is a bit scary, OK? But if you look closely at this photograph of Simon, we found when he was taken out and about, and you pull back, you can see a creepy, ghoulish figure hovering behind him. Now, we all know online dating is a great way of meeting people, but it does have its hazards, something that single mum Natasha discovered this week when she started speaking to a man called Lee on Tinder. Now, here's the picture. Here's his profile picture she saw, and you can see why she's attracted to him. I think he's a good-looking guy. But there he is relaxing in what is, let's face it, an impressive office. He has a sensitive side as well. She looked at some more pictures in his profile. Here's one of him, look, doing arts and crafts. She thought, this is quite a nice guy. I like the idea of this. Then, as she looked at more, Natasha realised that all of his Tinder photos were a bit suspicious, and then she worked out they'd all been taken in IKEA. So he'd just been... I can see why he's doing it, though. I mean, I'm happily married, of course, but if I was on Tinder, I'd use a recent profile picture myself. I wouldn't fake it. I'd use this one, for example. So, you know, you'd be honest. I'm joking, of course, although that's not Ollie's picture on Tinder. This is Ollie's picture on Tinder. He uses that one. When was that taken, Ollie? What's going on there?
I can't remember. About 2 years ago, I had a pool party, so...
I mean, what worries me about that is you say you're at a pool party, there's no other guests.
Oh, God. Well, someone's taking the photo, so at least there was someone there.
Yeah. OK, it's Easter weekend. The weather's been fantastic, hasn't it, everybody? But if you're planning on having a barbecue over the bank holiday weekend, please remember to enjoy your condiments responsibly, unlike this fella. OK. Shall we get my first guest out, ladies and gentlemen? Why don't we? He's sold over 18 million albums, and I've just found out, apparently, he is now massive in China as well, but, of course, we discovered him here first, so let's have a reminder of some of his biggest hits. So come on, spin me around now, I don't wanna go home, 'cause when you hold me like this, you know my heart skips a beat. Oh, I swear you're giving me a heart attack. Jamaica. DJ spinning that song that we grew to. Oh, my. Come and teach me how to dance. You've got to love a bit of Ollie. Here he is, everyone's favourite Essex boy, Ollie Murs, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's great to have you here. Thank you for coming on the show.
What a great audience.
Yeah, well, they're...
Amazing.
Amazing. Very excited to see you. You're just back. This is correct, isn't it? You're just back from China?
Yeah, I just got back, the start of the week,
And you were there for a reason, and I saw this online. So I follow Ollie on Instagram, I'm sure many of you do, and I saw you, and first of all, I thought maybe this was an April Fool's joke, because you'd broken a record out there, hadn't you?
It's unbelievable, yeah, we've done 4 billion streams.
4 billion streams?
Of one of my songs called That Girl.
Which isn't even that well-known song.
No, it was on my last album. No,
I mean, can I just ask you, had anyone heard of that song before now?
My mum will. She's in there somewhere. No, it's a song that I did on my last album. It was a bonus track. So I loved the song and I stuck it on there. I thought, that's all right. Yeah. Didn't think anything of it.
Nice
and then, yeah, I got a tweet or an Instagram message about 18 months ago about this young kid who'd been in school and it was Valentine's Day and he'd sung my song, That Girl.
Oh, it's a sweet story.
Yeah, and it went... Apparently, it's gone crazy. So, 18 months later, it's now done 4 billion streams in China. 4 billion. I am bigger than Drake in China. Wow. I've done absolutely nothing for this song to be as big as it is. And it's broken records over there. And I think it's the 18th biggest song of 2018.
Well, so there you are, you've gone over, you've
around the world, by the way, around the world.
That's amazing. And this is a song which, as I said, no one's really heard of apart from you, your mum and one guy in China. And it's probably your biggest, in some ways,
people in
but
China.
It's your biggest hit, in a way.
That's the weirdest thing about it, is it's my biggest hit. And none of my fans know it.
Wow. Well, will you put it in the tour now that you're doing the new tour?
Well, that's the thing, I'm on tour, and I'm like, do I put it in? I don't know. It could be one of them awkward moments. I'm at the O2 and I go to sing. There's a... No one knows it. Yeah. OK.
But if you don't do it, the 2 Chinese people who've come to see you will be furious. So was this your first time in China?
First time. Wow. It was interesting.
OK, so it sounds to me like it wasn't necessarily what you expected?
Well, you know, I mean, we're all used to Chinese food here, having the takeaways. You all love Chinese food, right? Yeah! But it was so different to what I expected.
So what would you normally order when you have a Chinese takeaway or when you go to a Chinese restaurant here? What's your kind of what's a dish you love?
I'm a little bit strange. I buy a portion of chips, and. Hear me out.
I mean, it's not a traditional Chinese.
No,
anyway.
I don't know why. I have these. You know, you go through a couple of. You know, after a couple of. This is my thing at the moment.
After a couple of beers.
Yes, this is my thing at the moment. Yeah. I put chips on the plate, right? Loads of salt and vinegar. And then I put egg fried rice on top of it, or chicken fried rice. Wow. And then I get curry sauce. And then I have, on the sides, I have crispy chili beef, sweet and sour crispy chili beef, and then the chicken balls. I
mean, I bet that's quite delicious, but I would like to apologise to any Chinese people who might be watching for this terrible abuse of your cuisine.
It's really, really bad, but that was my thing. So...
But you didn't expect to find that in China, so what did you hope to find?
I don't know, I was just...
Like, I guess, regular, like chicken chow mein that we have here, or
crispy
hot and sour chicken, that kind of thing.
You know. When I was at the airport and I thought, oh, like, you know, when you're at the airport and you think, get some snacks for the plane. So I'm thinking, right, what can I get? I really want some Oreos or something, or some box of Pringles. And so I'm looking around, and all I can see, and I mean, honestly, the food was mad. There was a pack of spicy duck tongues. Can you imagine being sat in the plane? What are you eating? I'm eating some duck tongues.
Well, were you tempted to try them?
No way. No chance.
Well, you're in luck.
Oh, you are joking me. No.
I think it's a shame, Robbie.
Oh, no.
Let's see, OK.
Oh, man, we actually doing this?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Don't you want to suck on a chicken foot? About this time on a Saturday night?
Spiced pork ear?
Spiced pork ear, of course. So there's the duck tongue with chilli. You want to try one of those? Ollie, come on. I'll tell you what, I'll try one if you try one. Let's start with the tongue. OK, let's eat a duck's tongue. Yeah. What are you doing on a Saturday night? Just on Jonathan Ross eating a duck tongue. Go on, you go first. I got the crunchy bit at the back of the tongue. But do you know what? The spice bit of it is
right,
nice.
I'm just going to do it.
Give it a little suck, because the spice bit is... the spicy bit of it... That spice is always burning my lips now. I'm warning you in advance.
OK.
Spicy. But the spice is nice, isn't it?
There was a lot of bone in that.
Yeah, and surprisingly bony. So let's go. The Chinese delicacy, the century eggs.
Why are they called century eggs?
Because they're old. They're old eggs. It's like preserved pickled egg. You don't have to eat the whole thing unless you fancy, unless it's delicious, Ollie.
Century egg.
Ah, mine's falling in half.
No, it is like...
Oh, look at the yolk. Oh, have a smell of it. Ollie, have a smell. Have a smell of mine. Have a smell of my egg.
Oh. Right, OK, we're going to do this. OK, cheers.
3, 2, 1.
That was absolutely... Oh,
I ate mine all down. I liked it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I really liked it.
Oh, good.
I didn't even put it in my mouth, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, my God, that was disgusting.
Well, thank you for trying that. Congratulations, though. Congratulations to Ollie. Amazing achievement. The Voice.
Yes.
Choosing the winner and coaching and mentoring the winner, young Molly, all the way to the end. That's an amazing thing. Have you been watching The Voice, ladies and gentlemen? That was quite something.
Delighted.
And what a great thing for you, because this is vindication. This shows you know what you're doing exactly on that show.
100%. I was absolutely delighted, you know. Obviously, you know, when you get on the show and you get given the job, you're like, you know, my job is actually to find talent.
Yeah.
It isn't just to sing and have a laugh and take the mickey out of Tom and Jennifer and Will.
Which you like doing as well, though.
Which I love doing, but, you know, I am there to find talent, and this year was... from the very first moment, I was like, I have to win. I can't... Every time I turn up on the set, they were like, you haven't won, you haven't won. Yeah. So this year was great for me. And Molly was sensational.
Well, she's a deserved winner. I mean, she's got an amazing voice, but you seem to spot that very, very quickly. I mean, you turned around, I don't know how many seconds it was, but it was only a matter of seconds, wasn't it? Yeah,
you know, the thing is, when we're on the show, we spoke about this briefly backstage, you know, a lot of people think we get told or you know, who's coming.
Well, someone who works on my show, we looked at this clip, we'll show you the clip, and they said, he must have known in advance, someone must have tipped him the wink, but you said absolutely not. There's no way, you don't know anything about any of it.
No idea. We sit there for hours, and we have different people come out, some of them we turn for, some of them we don't. And, of course, when it gets aired, I get absolutely slated on Twitter.
Let me just remind people, this is the moment when you turn, and you can see Ollie gets her voice immediately.
I'm like that.
Yeah, you're on immediately. Have a look at this.
Sometimes it amazes me. Sometimes you just take my breath away.
You got it straight in there.
You know what, like you said, for me, it was just validation for my job.
Yeah.
I can keep it now.
Yeah. But it's a great show. It's all the better with you on it, and you celebrated big time that night, I believe, didn't you? You went out when she won. You had a big night of it.
I went. Oh yeah, I went out. I was just. You know what? If anything, it was a relief because it's been 10 years since X Factor, since 2009 when I lost. I celebrated like I did win.
Well, you say you lost. You came second, didn't you?
No, I came second, but I sort of said to Molly, like, Molly, I am going to celebrate this like I've won. I know I've won as a coach, but I feel like I've won.
Yeah.
But I got very, very drunk.
Well, this is before you got fully drunk. This is you celebrating in Tom's chair, which I think people might have seen. I don't know, but that's... But are you wearing pants there, or are you completely naked?
Completely naked.
So poor old Tom's going to come on that chair next series, and he's got a bit of Ollie's arse on there.
So what? Who cares? No, it was just banter between me and Tom. I sent it to him and said, look at this, mate. But I was just having such a great night.
So how long do you stay with Molly now? How long are you, like, officially mentoring? I know you'll stay in touch, obviously, but officially, how long do you stay as part of her career?
I mean, that's it. When the show finishes, right. I mean, it's not going to be it for us. I mean, I'll continue to be there for her and support her through everything that she decides to do now. But I said to her, this is a platform. You know, when I left the show, it wasn't, you know, Simon wasn't babysitting me every week or speaking to me every week. It was now time for her to go out and you know, write her album, get herself set and start gigging and start, you know, building a fan base and building on this amazing platform. And I'll be there every single step of the way for her if she needs me.
And it's going to be exciting for you seeing that happen, seeing her grow and seeing her, you know, get the success.
I can't wait. I mean, you know, I've got the tour coming up. I hope she can come down to London and get on stage with me again.
So she'll sing with you on stage?
She's going to come to the O2, definitely. It'll be fun.
So the tour, you've got your tour starting the 1st of May. What's the tour called?
You Know, I Know, isn't it? Yeah, You Know, I Know.
Well, I know you know, but what's the name of the tour?
You know, I know.
I know you know, but I don't know.
Well, actually, is it there? All the Hits tour, 2019.
All the hits. So, presumably, will you be playing any of the hits on this tour?
I'm just for that. It wasn't my idea. It wasn't my idea to call it that.
There's nothing wrong with the title.
But no, listen. It's just going to be fun. I love touring. I love gigging. I love singing for people. I mean, that's what I love doing. So hopefully, I get to do more albums in the future.
But you've met so many great people. You work with some people. Working with Tom Jones is a joy, of course. And I know on the album, Nile Rodgers you collaborated with as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Niall was awesome. We met each other in Germany a few years back at an awards ceremony, and he was watching my sound check, and he said, "Hey, Ali, you got to come up and sing with me at the end of the show." And he said, "Come up," and I never forget it because I nearly missed my cue to come in because I was so mesmerised by the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in front of me, and he was dancing to Chic, and he was like, "Yeah, it's like this." He was like, "It's Arnold Schwarzenegger," and then I came in.
We are family.
We are family.
Take me to the chopper, Nile.
And it was, honestly, it was so funny. We just couldn't believe I was just behind him and he was rocking out.
Amazing. Well, luckily for us, you're going to be singing at the end of the show, and you're not just doing the new single, are you?
No, I'm going to do a medley at the end of the show.
Medley?
So I'm going to do a medley of some of the hits and obviously...
Some of the biggest hits from China. You won't have heard of any of them, but they're huge. Wait, the middle one, that beautiful song, I Like an Old Egg, that is just a beautiful ballad.
Honestly, my mouth is on fire through this whole interview. Oh, my God.
Well, the best is yet to come. Ollie's going to perform for us later on. Will you join me in saying thank you to Mr. Ollie Murs, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much. That was great. That was... I like that spice, though. I think that's spice.
I don't.
I like that. Ollie Murs. Still to come on the show, we've got Winnie Harlow, Kiefer Sutherland is here, and Emily Maitlis, so don't go away. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the show. Let's get my next guest out here. She's one of the most exciting models on the planet right now. Let's take a look at her in action. Excited she's here, ladies and gentlemen, it's Winnie Harlow.
Thank you.
Winnie, it's lovely to have you here.
Thank you. Thank
now,
you
you've just flown in from New York to be with us, but you lived here in the UK for a while, didn't you?
I did. I lived here for 2 years. I lived in Battersea.
And were you modelling then or doing something else?
Yeah, I was modelling. I moved out here for my career.
OK. And your mum comes from Lewisham, didn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's from Lewisham. My grandparents immigrated here from Jamaica and then had my mum and then moved to Canada, so I'm a Canadian girl.
Wow. So Lewisham, have you been to Lewisham?
I've driven past.
OK. So you grew up in Toronto, and did you want to be a model when you were a kid? Was that what you had your heart set on?
No, I wanted to be a journalist. I actually wanted to be like, I wanted to have my own show, so come in for your spot.
Coming in.
Yeah, I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to, like, interview cool people like this, and, yeah, but I ended up being a model. I don't know how that happened.
I'm super cool. And this isn't my normal smell, by the way. I've been eating duck tongue.
Oh, you smell really good. You smell good.
He smells great now, but wait till he burps.
I wish you guys ate the chicken
the egg
feet.
crumbs.
Wow, are they good?
Feet.
Are the chicken feet good?
Yeah, it's a Jamaican dish.
Do you want me to bring them back in for you?
Yeah, please.
Really?
In, yeah.
You want to eat? I think they're cooked differently. I don't know. They've got Jamaican spices on them.
All right, well, then I'll pass.
You've been all over the world, I guess, because you live in Brooklyn now, don't you?
I do live in Brooklyn.
So is it like New York food? Is it American food that you miss, or is it Jamaican food you mentioned?
Jamaican food always. I miss my mom's cooking, and I honestly never wanted to move out of my mom's house because, you know, she does my laundry, she cooks for me. So I just really needed my own space, not because, like, my mom is in my space, but I have so much clothes. Every time I leave and travel and come back, I have so many more things, an extra suitcase full of shoes and clothes. So I just needed space in general. But anytime I can have my mom come to Brooklyn and just, like, cook up some food is the best time of my life.
When we hear you talk about your lifestyle, it sounds so extraordinarily glamorous. It sounds so different. But presumably, there must have been a period when you had, like, before this all happened for you. Did you have regular jobs before this? Did you? I mean, Ollie worked in a call centre. Did you ever have anything like that?
Oh, me too.
Did you really?
Yeah. I worked in like 5 different call centers. I worked in retail. I worked in like a lingerie store.
And did you know at the time, were you already modelling and hoping that you'd make it big, or had you not even started then?
No, I would model here and there back home in Toronto for my friends, and I would do it as a favor. And yeah, they just told me to post it, or I would post it. People would see me online, and I kind of built up a following that way.
And were you embraced immediately by the modelling world, or were there people who said, no, with your unique look, you're not going to make it?
Well, I heard on the radio a casting call for models, and I begged my mom to go with me to Toronto, to like the city of Toronto, and try and get this casting or whatever. And we went in, and she was like, yeah, you know, you should thank your mom for your bone structure. You're very beautiful, but if you would like to be in the modeling industry, you should probably be like a makeup artist.
Wow.
And I was like, that's quite a hit, but for me, whenever people tell me like I can't do something, it makes you want to do it even more.
And it's unusual, I thought, to find someone in your line of work with vitiligo. Are there many other models with vitiligo?
Not that I know of, but I really do hope that there are more in the future. I feel like there was something that I heard recently. Sometimes you are given a platform, or you create this platform for other people to stand on, and I absolutely love that. So I hope there are more in the future.
And this is, what is the condition itself? It's a pigmentation thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically my immune system thinks that my melanin is like a common cold, so it fights it off.
So your body is fighting off the pigment?
Yeah.
Wow. And has it changed the way people have dealt with you? Obviously, you've achieved a level of fame and success now, but the way people write about you, for example, when they talk about it, has that changed? Is that still something which irks you?
I think it was like the Daily Mail or some article that
I mean,
kept
you could
writing.
kind of end that sentence there now. Yeah.
They would like say like, oh, Winnie Harlow, 24, suffering from vitiligo. And I was like, do I look like I'm suffering?
Yeah.
Come on now, like, let's not do that.
But it's interesting because just that use of the wrong word there changes the whole way people look at something, doesn't it? I mean,
100%. Yeah, and I feel like it's not anyone else's position to tell me that I'm suffering. I don't feel like I'm suffering. I'm conquering. I'm living. Living my best life in the way that I can. So.
And thriving, yeah.
Thriving.
Now, in modelling terms, if I'm correct, you know, the job that you've recently had, this Victoria's Secret campaign, that's about as big as it gets, that show, isn't it?
100%.
Wow. And so is that on your kind of like career hopes and wishes?
Yeah, it was like number one on my hopes and wishes. It's never going to move from there because, you know, I want to do it every single year, so... Yeah,
I'm trying to get a gig there every year.
Dream come true.
We should point out they have singers. Ollie's not hoping to model...
No. No.
You look great in that outfit.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that.
So what other projects? You've been all over the world, I guess. Where are the best places that you visited when you've been working?
Oh, my favourite place that I really want to go back to again is Thailand. So beautiful. I love Thai food, so that was amazing as well.
Oh, so you ate the local food while you were there?
Yeah, I always do. I'm really open to trying everything, which is why I was like, yeah, you can bring it. I'll try the century egg. I'm down.
We have got, under my desk here, I do have one more of the century eggs.
Lovely.
If you'd like to try it.
I would.
OK, here we go.
So we have like a puke bucket.
I'll get you a tissue.
I do not want to smell this again. I can't. No, I can't, honestly.
Ollie, what? I think you should give it another go.
I'm just going to relax. I'm going to chill and relax over here.
It just smells like a really salty boiled egg.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. You see, that's a no-nonsense approach, unlike some babies. That
was
that texture.
It's kind of, the texture's a bit of an ask, isn't it?
It's very odd.
I ain't doing that again.
Huh, OK. Well, I'm going to take this just in case.
This is like kryptonite to you. Look, you've pulled right away.
It was... Whoa. That's a big...
It's a big old mouthful you got there. You've gone straight in there.
Oh, texture.
Yeah. But can I just point out the lack of fuss that was made there? Tried the egg, said... Not for me, got rid of the egg.
I'm sorry, but that's
none of that
right?
writhing around on the couch, crying. Where's my mum? To be heard from you.
It's proper shivers.
Would you like a little bit of water just to wash that away?
Thank you.
There you go. That's actually duck's piss. That's... It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. I wouldn't do that to you. Why would I do that to you? Winnie, it's lovely having you on the show, because I've seen you, and my daughter said to me, oh, you've got to check this woman out. She's a really amazing young woman, so I'm so pleased you came on the show. And hopefully...
your daughter, I said thank you.
I will do. Hopefully you'll stick around for the rest of the programme as well.
Of course.
Winnie Harlow, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Winnie. Still to come, coming up after the break, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kiefer Sutherland and then Emily Maitlis, so don't go away. Welcome back. Let's get my next guest out here. He's been making movies since he was 17 years old. From his star turns in Stand By Me, The Lost Boys and Young Guns, to his iconic role as Jack Bauer in The Brilliant 24, and he's about to release his second album. It's Mr. Kiefer Sutherland, ladies and gentlemen.
As a Canadian to a Canadian.
Right?
Yeah, so because you're Canadian as well, so we've got two Canadians on the show.
Yes.
Is there like a special handshake you have when you meet a fellow Canadian?
No, we just say sorry.
Yes. Weren't you born in the UK, Kiefer?
I was. In fact, there was an amazing moment. I was doing press for Stand By Me. I think I might have been 17 years old. And I was standing in the line to go through customs. And the line I was in was for everyone who was not from the UK. And the line just went forever. And so a Border Patrol person was walking by and said, may I see your passport? And I showed him my passport, and it said, born in London. And he said, oh, son, you're one of us. And he put me in the other line.
Wow.
And literally the next week, I got a British passport.
Wow.
And,
so you used that when you
came
over?
It was so nice the way he did it.
Yeah, wow.
I felt so cool.
When you come over, normally you're over here, you're promoting a movie or a TV thing, but this time you're over because this career of yours as a singer and songwriter, that's really taking off for you. You got this is your second album?
It's our second record, and we've been touring on the first record and part of this record for the last 5 years. Playing in the UK is one of the real highlights of our tour. We played 300 shows in the last 2.5 years. And very excited about the second record, which comes out on the 26th.
But you're serious about this. This isn't like dabbling with something. This isn't you doing something on the side.
Well, it's very funny. I didn't wake up one day and say, oh, today I'm going to make a record. I had a lot of songs that I had written, a lot of songs that I had written when I was doing 24 and during that period. And so I recorded them with a guy named Jude Cole, who produced both records. Dear friend of mine, incredible artist. And he suggested that I make an album. And I'm so aware of the stigma of an actor doing music that I said absolutely not. But he knows me pretty well, so he took me to a bar. And we had a few drinks, and it sounded like a better idea.
That's how people persuade you, Keith. They say, let's talk about this over a drink.
I'm pretty easy, you know. Fourth or fifth drink, I'll pretty much do anything you want. So we agreed to do 5 songs.
There's a lovely song on here you've written. Is one of them? Is it written for your daughter? Am I right in thinking that?
Song for a daughter, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that would be it then. Yes.
Yes. That was just.
I just wanted to check.
It was very funny. I was shooting a television show called Designated Survivor.
Yeah.
And I got home for the Christmas holidays, and I saw this picture of my daughter when she was born. My daughter's now 31 years old. So I got very kind of nostalgic. And I almost immediately just kind of started humming a lullaby, which ultimately became the song, and the lyrics came by very quickly. And I realized there's a line in the song, you know, when I'm over and done, know you were the one that made the love in my heart last. And I realized I wrote it so that she would have it after I was gone, that for the rest of her life, that song will be able to remind her how much I loved her.
Lovely, what a lovely message. Yeah,
well,
what a
thank
lovely thing
you.
to do for her. She acts. She's a successful actor. I know she's in the TV show Veep.
Yeah, she's an extraordinary actor.
But you've never acted with her, have you?
No, it's, you know, it's very funny. I've offered her 2 films, and one I desperately needed her to be in and really wanted her to be in. She's turned me down both times. But I think she really is such an independent person, and she really has created her own path.
Yeah.
And I think she's very conscious of not wanting to look like I had anything to do with helping her in her career, because I absolutely did not.
But I guess, in a way, that's what you had to do with your father as well. You had to go out and make sure that people knew that you weren't
I would
getting
have taken
help
all the help I could have gotten. You know, I mean, honestly, what was really funny for the first 10 years of my career, my father stopped working. He moved to Paris, and he has 3 other sons with his wife of, my gosh, almost now 50 years. And he really took the time to raise them and kind of was an at-home father. So when I started working, it was just luck that he really wasn't. So I was given quite a wide berth to kind of find my own way and do that.
Was that must have been quite upsetting for you, I would have thought, to be a young man and to see him start a new family, but be the father to them that he wasn't to you?
No, I love my dad, and you know, the one thing I think both of us regret is we didn't have as much time together as I think either one of us would have liked. But no, I mean, I love my brothers. I think when I was 7 years old, I proposed to my dad's wife, tried to steal her from him. So no, I mean, I never felt that way at all. But I do remember felt very fortunate that for the first few years of my career, I really had his shadow wasn't looming over me. And because I honestly believe that he's one of the most prolific and important actors in the English language. So I was just very fortunate that I had a little window to kind of find my own way.
We'll maybe talk some more about acting after this, but first of all, let's give everyone a taste of the music. The album is called Reckless and Me, and here's a bit of Kiefer in action. This is out on Friday, and it's a really lovely album. Some beautiful songs on it. We're going to play Something You Love.
But I'm wasting my time just paying my bills, staying in line but getting no chills. Living ain't living now without the thrill of doing something you love. Dance all night till the moonlight's gone. Dive in the river with nothing on. Follow your dreams, you can't go wrong. Doing something you love.
Something You Love, and the album's Reckless and Me. So Something You Love is kind of what you're doing right there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But this isn't it for you. You're not done with acting now, are you?
Oh my gosh, no. Acting is one of the great loves of my life. And it's something, as long as people will let me do it, I'll do it to the day I die.
But you started acting very young.
I did. I joined a young people's theatre company in Toronto and ran away from home when I was 15 years old and joined a couple of small theatre companies. And got my first break, which was a film called The Bay Boy, which was shot in Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. And we had a cast and production get-together the night before we started shooting. And I don't think I'd ever been more excited in my life. And we had to go to this Chinese restaurant at the other side of the island because it was the only restaurant that had a table big enough to seat the cast and the producers.
And you ordered chips.
I did not, no. I ordered pan-fried rice noodles, black bean sauce, and...
century egg.
And 2 century eggs. And my life couldn't be going better. And I opened up the fortune cookie at the end of the meal, and it said, "Go home." And so, to this day, because I'm a superstitious person, I wonder, I did not go home, and I wonder what would have happened if I had.
Well, one thing, I've interviewed you a few times, and I think I've mentioned the performance you give in A Few Good Men is just an extraordinary performance from you there. And you were just a kid then still, really, weren't you?
I was about 25, 26 years old. And everybody on that film, Kevin Bacon and I had done Flatliners together. I had known Tom Cruise a little bit. But then to get the honor of being able to work with someone like Jack Nicholson. And there was that great speech, that final act.
With the line that everyone quotes from the movie.
Yes, yeah, you can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
And he was the only person working that day, and Kevin Bacon. And just to give you a sense of how much everybody respected him, the entire cast showed up on their day off to watch him film that. And he did it in 2 takes. Wow. And the only reason he did it in 2 takes was because Rob Reiner had nothing else to shoot. And literally, you could have done the first take and walked away. It was so impressive to watch him do his thing.
Well, I suspect if he saw you filming it that day, he'd have said the same thing, because your performance in that film, I think, matches his. It's amazing.
Well, that's very sweet, thank you.
Let me remind everyone, the album's called Reckless to Me, Kiefer Sutherland. It's out on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourself a copy and hopefully see you live. You'll be playing some more gigs over here.
Absolutely, through October, yeah.
Great to have you here. Mr. Kiefer Sutherland, ladies and gentlemen. Still to come on the show, Emily Maitlis will be out here on the couch, and Ollie Moore's performing live here in the studio. See you after the break. Welcome back to the show. Let's get my next guest out here. She's one of the smartest and sharpest women on TV, the host of Newsnight. It's the fabulous Emily Maitlis. Emily, it's great to have you on. It's so nice to see you away from the Newsnight studio. You can actually wear kind of proper clothing.
This is so big.
Yeah.
There's so many people.
Yep. Well, congratulations, by the way, though. You were named the main presenter, the lead presenter on Newsnight in March. That must have been quite a moment.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was really nice, and it came just at the right time. A sort of a political maelstrom like we've never seen before, so it was a really nice time.
Well, I guess it couldn't be a better time to be a political journalist than right now, because it's such... I mean, it's... chaos is perhaps the wrong word, but it's so kind of unpredictable.
Yeah, it's really funny. I think it's like sort of... You know, it's like Sandra Bullock and Speed, you know. Like, you can't miss a day because you don't know what's going to happen, and it has that sense of... You know, the ending keeps changing. Every day, the ending's slightly changing. I've
got to ask you about... This was a moment where you were... this was a month ago. You were talking about Brexit, and it was yet another odd twist or turn in this, and no one knew what quite was going on. And you glanced to the camera, and obviously, I'm sure you pride yourself, and it must be terribly difficult to maintain that level of impartiality that you have to on the BBC, that lack of bias. But here, clearly, I think you were expressing what a lot of us were thinking. Have a look at this, if you didn't see it the first time.
If there is a general election called next week, which there is every likelihood could happen, what will be on your manifesto? What Brexit vision will be on your manifesto then?
To negotiate the deal that we have set out.
That's going to be on the leaflet.
Well, we will decide what our manifesto position is, as we normally do. It's a democratic party. It's not made up of...
Amazing side-eye, as I believe it's called.
Do you know, the weirdest thing was I didn't even register doing it. I think my job is just to elicit some kind of sense for the audience.
Some sort of an answer.
Some sort of an answer that makes sense. You know, that's what everyone watches us for. They don't want my opinion, but they do want me to try and understand what they're telling us. Yeah. And you can try and try and try and try. And if you're not getting it, then there is that moment where you just want to go, oh.
What do they make over in America and in Canada? What do you make of Brexit? Do you kind of... Is it this sort of a quaint, weird thing that's going on over here, or are you...
Well, no, I mean, for me, it's Trump, Brexit, you're watching a movement of nationalism and isolationism, which I think is, personally, I think tears at the fabric of a country and pulls it apart. And so, but you're watching it all around the world.
You interviewed Trump. How many years ago? A few years ago? You spent quite a bit of time with him.
6 years ago. That was the two of us in Trump Towers. And it was very funny. I remember that very clearly.
Oh, which one of his wives were you? I'm trying to remember which one.
Next. I'm waiting for the big moment. But it was funny because he came towards me and, you know, gave me this very sort of macho, manly handshake. And I was quite surprised because we'd always heard about the germophobia and how he doesn't like shaking hands. So I was like, oh, I thought you had germophobia. And he's like, no, not with you. I shake hands with you. It's them that I don't shake hands with. Wow. And I'm like, them... oh, well, the people in your lobby? And he's like, yeah, or the voters, as we now call them, you know? So it was a kind of weird introduction to this billionaire businessman long before any of us realised that he was going to have political intentions.
Well, Emily's got a book out, and talks about a meeting with Trump or various other people. It's called Airhead, which is... it's an interesting title that you've called a book about your work, Airhead.
Yeah, it's... what is in my head when we're going live on air and everything starts to go wrong.
But you're quite hard on yourself in here because you talk about the Trump thing and you mentioned how he had exaggerated or even openly lied about certain things early on.
It was so interesting. I mean, some of the things he said, you know, because I was interviewing him as a sort of, you know, as a business programme. And so he said, Emily, my hotel has the biggest ballroom. We have the biggest ballroom of any hotel anywhere in New York. And I kind of like thought, oh, that's an odd boast. I was like, is there a machismo to do with the size of your ballroom, you know? And I went off, I sort of checked. I was like, oh, that's weird, it isn't. And I said to my producer, well, it isn't actually the biggest ballroom. Do I kind of call him out on it? Do I say that's a lie? And then I was like, that makes me sound weird, like I've got this obsession about people's ballroom sizes. And I'm like, what is the size of your ballroom, really? You know, so I kind of left it. And so all those little sort of sleights of hand, they weren't lies, there was nothing criminal, there was nothing wrong. It was what I thought of it as the time as sort of, you know, maybe that's what celebs do. That's kind of like, you know, business celeb exaggeration.
A sort of harmless exaggeration.
It all seemed to be like, oh, honestly, if it makes you feel better to talk about the size of your ballroom, who am I to stand in your way? You know, so I would kind of go, yeah, whatever. But it was only years later I kind of went, oh, OK, he was doing that all along. He was doing that all along.
But that's how we've got into this trouble. Is everyone saying, oh, well, I'll let that pass, I'll let that pass, and then you wind up, oh, well, hello, he's president. You know, not that you're responsible, but I have to blame someone. But
you've got 3 Canadians here, not one.
Oh, you're Canadian as well?
I was Canadian-born, yeah.
Wow.
So nobody here is responsible for Trump.
Well, Ollie has to be then in that case.
It's weird. He should have eaten the chicken's foot.
Yeah. And did you get to meet Obama?
No, he's the one in between. I met Clinton. I interviewed Clinton.
And Clinton wasn't president when you interviewed him, though, was he?
No, it was after he'd been president. And we were out in Rajasthan, miles from anywhere, and I had to do this interview. And he was very interested in the Mongols and very interested in, you know, the history of sort of revolution and all the rest of it. And that night, we kind of had been for dinner. All of us had been for dinner. And we came back, and I said to the team, let's have a drink, you know, have a drink in the bar. And I sat down, and there was this gift shop. You know that awful feeling when there's a really beautiful hotel gift shop and you think, oh, I shouldn't be looking at stuff. You know, I'm in the middle of India and we've been in, you know, rural parts, but there was a lovely pashmina. So I pop in. Who comes into the gift shop just behind me but Bill Clinton? And I'm thinking, this is really embarrassing because I've been caught looking very sort of commercial and capitalist. So I wrapped myself round the pashmina so I couldn't see my head. Anyway, he goes straight to the books. I'm like, of course, you know, the culture man, he's gone to read about the Mughals or the, you know, the empire and Genghis Khan, all the rest of it. And I was sort of looking and he picks up this book and I was like, oh, that doesn't look like a history book. And I looked a bit closer and I realised he'd picked up a copy of the Kama Sutra. Wow. He was looking at it in the gift shop and I was like, OK, I think it might be time for a very swift exit here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's a great story, but how tight is he that he just picked up the positions from the gift shop without buying a copy? So presumably he was going in, looking at it, going back, trying it out, coming back in, looking at another one. I mean, that's a lot of effort. You know, we mentioned your husband a minute ago. You proposed to your husband, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been proposed to?
I have never been proposed to.
He's going to hate that photo. He's like, keep me out of it.
And when you proposed, was he immediately like, wow, yes, of course, thank you for asking?
That would have been the perfect ending. No, it was a really weird one, because we'd flown on Millennium Night, right? The 31st of December, 1999. And everyone had said, you know, oh, the planes are going to go mad, Y2K, don't go in the air, it's all going to crash, the systems are going to go down. And so we kind of went, oh, sod it, let's see what happens. You know, we didn't have kids, we were happy, we were in love.
Hold it, so you thought, let's see if the planes crash. Let's get in a plane.
We were kind of thinking, this is... I don't believe it. I just kind of thought, I think it's probably going to be fine. And so that was the kind of context in which we landed. And so it was a sort of happy to be alive kind of week, you know. And it was on about day 3, and I'd packed this little white dress, and I thought, oh, what have I got to lose, you know? And so I proposed, and he went, oh my God, that's amazing. No. So he said yes, but we weren't going to do it then.
Oh, so he said yes to the
proposal? He said yes to the proposal, no to the kind of let's get on and do it, you know, barefoot in the sand. And I think he was right, because he realised it would actually have hurt a lot of people and a lot of loved ones back home. So he was entirely right. But I kept on saying, like, some sort of, you know, weird... sort of odd cutting. But my dress! I packed my dress! And if you know how little I pack, then, you know, an extra dress is a big thing.
Emily, I love watching you on Newsnight. I'm so thrilled that you're the person in charge there. Emily, make this, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Emily. OK, so it's the moment that many of us have been waiting for. Ollie's going to sing for us now. So, Ollie, if you want to go and get over there ready for Ollie Murs, ladies and gentlemen. And that just leaves me to thank all of my guests tonight. Of course, the fabulous Emily Maitlis, Mr. Kiefer Sutherland and Winnie Harlow as well. Thank you all for being here. But now, here he is performing Feel the Same, and as he said earlier, he's going to start out with a burst of old hits for us as a special Easter treat. It's the one and only Ollie Murs.
You got me hooked again from the minute you sat down. The way you bite your lips got my head spinning around. After a drink or two, I was putty in your hands. I don't know if I had a chance to stand. Oh, trouble, troublemaker, that's your middle name. I know you know good, but you're stuck in my brain. And I wanna know, why does it feel so good but hurt so bad? Oh, my mind keeps saying run as fast as you can. A troublemaker, I say another thing, you pull me back. Hey, I swear you're giving me a troublemaker. Come on. Now excuse me if you sound rude, but I love the way that you move, and I see me all over you now. Baby, when I look in your eyes, there's no way that I can disguise all these crazy thoughts in my mind. Ladies, you got the light. You know the rest, you know just where I wanna be. Don't ever stop controlling me. It's kinda like it when you bring me to my knees. You got me around your finger. I'll do anything for your love. 'Cause baby, when you touch it, the feeling lingers. Takes me up so high I can't. Girl, you got me. Oh, you got me so, you got me so. Oh, yes, there's just something about you, girl. Oh, you got me so, yeah. There's just something about you, you got me wrapped up. I want to show, yeah. Took a minute to realize when you're not there by my side, it just feels cold, yeah. And the nights are long, yeah. I'm so sick of chasing highs, so tired of wondering why I let go, let go, let go. When you're the only one I wanna hold. La 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 la, let go, let go, let go. I'm left wondering why love don't feel the same. I've been up and all over the globe, trying to find someone special like you. 'Cause without you,